Hi, my name's Jeff Gamble. I'm from Indianapolis, Indiana, and about 10 days ago, maybe it was 2 weeks, I actually met Monica Lee, and we were actually in the process of building a business, and we had put out some leads, and she just happened to be one of the people that we called. It was actually my girlfriend, Brandy Pember, who actually reached out to her and said, hey, we're expanding this company locally, and we're looking for good people. Are you available to talk? She was. She was able to take down some basic information about her and got me on the phone. I ended up explaining to her who I was and what I did. And she was like, absolutely, that totally makes sense. I need more info. And at this point, we decided to partnership together. We're actually working with her, and she took off like a rocket. She's already promoted in our company and is already being looked at by leadership as one of the people who's going to help us build this marketplace. But what we need is a huge favor from you. If you know her, obviously, you were sent this video. What I want to do is really explain to you what we do. So if you happen to come across the right person, you can refer them to us. We just appreciate you hearing us out. Now, the way that I got to this company, I just want to explain kind of my backstory of why this makes sense, why I decided to actually be involved in helping this company do what they do. And it involves credit repair. I have a background in this simply because I made a lot of bad decisions growing up. At 19, I decided to get married, very young. While I was still in college, and then I decided to go self-employed. I came to my parents. My mom's a school teacher, my dad's a college professor, and I told them I was going to quit school and go self-employed. And you can imagine about how well that conversation went. My mom, who's a school teacher, was pissed and told me absolutely not. And my dad was kind of more objective. He was upset, but he's like, hey, you're going to do what you're going to do, but I would not advise this, not smart. Here's a bunch of other ways. But I did it anyway. And while I was self-employed, unfortunately, I found out I was sick. Something was wrong. I couldn't figure it out. I went to the doctor. They did some tests, and come to find out I had cancer. So it went from bad to worse. I went into the hospital. I spent a year with surgeries, 2 surgeries, chemotherapy. Came out on the other end. I was cured, but then I owed. I owed a lot, almost $250,000 in debt. And I decided I wanted to fight my way out. I was like, well, there's got to be a way to get out of this. How do you make a lot of money and pay this off? And I was watching TV and I saw Charlton Sheets and those guys, no money down, buying houses and making 10, 20, 30,000. And I was like, well, if they can do it, I can do it. Went ahead, got the course, started looking at all that, and I did okay. I actually was able to buy 18 houses in 36 months here in Indianapolis and flip them, various forms, wholesaling, subject to, for those of you who are in real estate, you know what that is. For those of you who don't, contract buying, lease to owns. And I also became a real estate agent. Started building a team. We started making a ton of money. Everything looked good. I was going to be able to pay all this off, and it was going to be a good day. And then 2008 happened. For those of you who remember 2007 and 8, that's when the mortgage crisis hit, and people lost jobs and banks closed. And I had a builder call me, and they're like, "Hey, we just went out of business, and those 9 commissions aren't going to happen." Those 9 commissions were about $70,000 for that month, which was not good. One thing led to another. Everything collapsed and fell apart. I went from a 5-bedroom house, great neighborhood, corner lot, 2 cars, the best life. To basically not having any money, getting my car repossessed, marriage fell apart, and I ended up in front of an attorney. And the attorney's like, look, we just looked over everything, and you owe approximately $3 million, and there's no payment plan for that. But we do have 3 choices that you can do. Number 1, you can move somewhere we can't find you. Number 2, you can win the lottery. You might need to win it more than once. And number 3, you're going to have to file bankruptcy and start all over again. And unfortunately, that's what I had to do. I ended up filing a Chapter 7 bankruptcy on almost $3 million. My credit absolutely fell apart. But 60 days after that bankruptcy discharged, I ended up calling a friend of mine, Brian, and I said, pull my credit. And he's like, why? Are you going to try to buy something? I'm like, no, I want to actually get started putting my credit back together immediately. Because the one thing that I knew is credit doesn't get better with time. It gets better because you do something about it. You physically do something about it. Nobody's going to save you. So I wanted to get on it. Pulled my credit. My credit scores were like 400, 400, and just about 500, which is terrible. So what I did is I put together this 6-step system, which I give everybody for free. Anybody who wants it can have it. And I was actually able to take myself through these 6 steps over the next 7 months after that bankruptcy, and I raised my credit score to a 691, just over 700, and my top score was a 729. It was amazing. My friend Brian, who had pulled my credit again 7 months later, was like, "How in the did you do this? We want to sit down," and we talked about it, and I became known in the real estate mortgage industry with my friends as the credit guy. I helped people put themselves back together, get themselves back on track, make things happen. And I did that for several years. I've started a couple other businesses, and this last December, friends of mine approached me with a company called FES. FES stands for Financial Education Services. And I said, "Well, what do they do?" They said, "Credit repair." And I said, "That's funny. I've never heard of them." And they said, "Well, they've actually been around for 14 years. I was like, "Okay, well, you have my interest. What do they do?" He said, "Well, 14 years out of Farmington Hills, Michigan. Mike and Paramount are the two guys who started the company. One was in banking, finance background, and the other one has a background in programming. And they put together this service with all of these other services tied to it that focuses on credit." I was like, "Okay." He said, "The first thing they do is they do credit repair or credit improvement." I said, "Yeah, I get that." He said, "The second thing is they have a credit builder program where you can get a secured card through a service that they put together. And once you get your secured card, then they teach you basically how to increase your score and how to eventually get a non-secured card and keep building your credit." They also have in-house credit attorneys to help out with like litigation, payment plans, settlements, those kind of things, answer questions. They partnership with Smart Credit, which is like Credit Karma, give you all 3 scores, updates, automatic alerts. They partnership with LifeLock, which is the #1 identity theft marketed program in the United States. Because obviously, if you're going to fix your credit and get back on track, it makes sense to secure it. They also partnership with a program called Debt Zero. Debt Zero is a get out of debt program, like a spreadsheet. You put all your debt in and say, "I want to pay it off in this time frame," and it shows you like the fastest way with some information on how to do that. My Care Plan is next. My Care Plan is wills and trusts. It's the final love letter to your family. Unfortunately, most people do not have it done. And if you don't have it done, you know who gets to decide where everything goes? The state. That's not good. In certain situations, they find next of kin, but you don't want the state dealing with anything, really. So it's better to make all those decisions ahead of time. So they do that and updates and answer questions. And then they have a program called Financial Lockbox. What do you do with your will and trust? Most people throw it in their basket of other, documents, along with, marriage certificates, divorce decrees, all that stuff. Financial Lockbox basically gives a spreadsheet list of every single document you'd ever need to start over, and you upload each one of them into a secure file with a passcode and also a beneficiary. So if anything happens, you move, a fire, you lose something, somebody passes away, you could press a button and get all those documents back at one time, which is, I think, really smart now that we have 10,000 pieces of paper and all these passcodes. So they also have 3 savings plans. They've got a travel portal to save money, they've got a shopping portal to save money, and they have a prescription card plan to save money. And all of that's packaged together under this protection plan membership that they built. It's $89 a month. Month to month. You do have the ability to cancel at any time. And I asked, "Well, how long does it take?" And the guy's like, "Normally it takes about 40 days, 40 to 45 days to see movement or improvement." And I was skeptical, guys. But they explained the whole thing to me, and I was like, "Look, I've seen programs like this. You're telling me it's automated. I'll test it." So I had extra money. I went ahead and signed up for the whole program, became an agent of the company, so that way I could market it as well and have access to everything. And I signed up in the program just to see how it worked. What I experienced was I logged into their back office just to see how it worked, and it said, "Hey, do you want to start the process?" I said, "Sure." Click yes. And it said, "Is all this information correct?" And I had all my information there, and it says, "We're going to pull your credit and get this process started right away." I was like, "Okay, cool." Click. And all 3 of my bureaus came up. My scores came up, and then a window popped up and says, "We found 3 potentially negative items that we would like to either try to dispute, or remove, or correct." And I was like, "Okay, cool. Why not?" Click, yes. Let's dispute. And then this window popped up and it says, "We need 2 pieces of verification information. We need your social, something with your social on it. So I took a picture of my social card, and also we needed a picture of an address. So I did those two things, and they said, look, we're going to send you a notification in 48 hours. 48 hours later, I got the notification. It said, good to go. We're sending you a packet in the mail. That packet's going to have 3 documents, one to TransUnion, one to Experian, one to Equifax, which are the 3 credit bureaus. And all you need to do is take them out, sign them, put them in a new envelope, and mail them in. Because credit bureaus respect it coming from the individual more than a company. I was like, okay, yeah, I did that before. That makes sense. So I did it. The packet came in a week, pulled them out, signed them, sent them away. That was at the end of December. Towards the end of January, actually, yeah, towards the end of January, beginning of February, because it was about mid-December that I did this. About 40 days later, I got a notice on my phone, and it says, you have this notice, and I open it up, and it says, your score has raised 41 points due to the removal of negative items. And I was like, wow, that's the disputing process. I was like, damn. I was like, this was the impressive thing. I hadn't spoke to a single person up until that point. This was all automated. So that's what really impressed me about what they do. I was like, man, if that worked for me that easily and it's automated and that simple, I really want to be involved and market this. And at that point, I got back on the phone with the guys who shared it with me, and they said, look, there's 3 kinds of people we're looking for. Number one, we're looking for people that actually inside sales rep to market that plan just as a customer. So as a customer, it's $89 a month. There's a one-time $99 sign-up fee. So for the first month, it's $188, and then $89 after that as long as you need it. 50% of the people get to where they need to go in about 3 to 4 months. Another 40% of the people get to where they need to go in 8 to 10 months. But about 10% of people, and this is just my experience, this isn't even FES or anybody else, my experience, only about 10% of people end up staying in a program like that longer than 12 months to get their credit to where it needs to go. It's just statistics. The second type of person that we're looking for, and just to let you know how the customer thing works, is an inside sales rep. That $99 sign-up fee goes directly to the person who refers them. So if you refer 10 people over to the company will pay you $100 per person for that upfront. It just goes straight to you. That'd be $1,000. And then also, they made their membership payment. Every time somebody makes their membership payment, you get an additional $12. So you add up those 10 people. If you sent 10 people to them, let's say in the course of a month, you'd have the $1,000 plus 12 times 10, which is another $120. So you'd make $1,120 for sending 10 customers to this a month. I was like, well, that's a no-brainer. I know people all the time who ask me about credit. I've been doing this for years. The second type of person we're looking for is business to business. We can actually sign up real estate companies, mortgage companies, auto dealerships. We work with financial planners. We work with tax accountants. There's a bunch of people we work with. Anybody who deals with people who have potential credit issues, we can set them up, and that's a corporate thing. We just look for people who have experience in making those connections. That's a trainable position as well. And then the third type of person we're looking for is a recruiter trainer. That's somebody who's going to help us build the sales force, teach people how to sell, find the people, be able to present to them. It's more of like management, leadership. It's completely teachable, it's completely trainable, and it's part-time, spare time, or what I would call even silent partner. We do work with people who are like, look, I don't want to do any of the talking. I'm a professional in my field, but I wouldn't mind partnershiping with you. I'll send you everybody. Sign them up in my sales portal. We both make money. So that's what we do. Those are the 3 kinds of people we look for. We look for customers who need it, and we're looking for these other type of people who work with us. If you happen to know of anybody, please send them our way. We just appreciate it. Monica and I are excited about this. We're going to help her. If you have questions, get her on the phone. She'll get me on the phone, and I'll answer anything I possibly can. I appreciate you guys for watching and hearing us out, and hopefully we'll be able to talk to you real soon. Thanks.